how much of the readily available Indian ITES talent is sort of okay to the GCC sector? Is that talent good enough for you to absorb? And also in terms of having that piece set, has it given the right kind of probably footing to the GCCs to scale on the talent that is available?
I think wherever it is a pure tech kind of a thing, there has not been so much of difficulty in terms of absorbing talent. But I think wherever there is a domain expertise that is required, a specific knowledge about, the way how an industry runs, we still see a large gap from the readily available talent. So, of course, a lot of governments are waking up, and we keep having conversations with a lot of governments in terms of creating a consortium of companies and bringing them together to create, we're even talking about train the lecturers in the college in order for them to send the, more readily available workforce kind of thing. But I'm sure all of us have training programs that will take the graduate hires through a series of interventions in terms of either it about teaching your organization, your culture, how things work, the domain part of it, what are they expected to do, what role. So learning and development becomes super critical, especially when you hire entry-level talent. May not be as much in the lateral hires, but entry-level talent, it becomes extremely critical.
Vijay, your thoughts on this?
So I'll say this, that there's never a gap in terms of availability of talent. I think the gaps show up in terms of immediate applicability on the problem you're trying to solve. And that's natural. I mean, let's agree that there'll always be a gap. But there are two sides to it. One is technical skills. You can train for that. The other is soft skills. It takes a little more than training for that. There are cultural nuances to it. So I think somewhere in there, at an entry level, you can come in with great tech skills, pick up new skills, deliver. But as you get to a little more senior levels, the ability to stand up and not just be present in the room, but also represent what you have to say is a big aspect that sometimes we find there is a gap, right? And that's something you have to really invest a lot of time. There's a lot of self-reflection that needs to happen. And it's not just merely training, but actually getting in the job and figuring it out, trying out different things, etc.
When you're talking about the soft skill bit, is that more prevalent from, say, kids who are coming out of the tier 1 or tier 2 cities? And is that sort of a barrier when it comes to probably absorbing tier 2 talent? Is there some sort of, color that you can share on where is the gap largely that you're seeing?
So I wouldn't say it's a tier 1 city or a tier 2 city problem, in all honesty, because what tends to happen is most of the campuses we go to get children from different parts of the country anyways, right? It's a very interesting set of cultures that come together to work. I think it's more to do with the fact that in our training ecosystem or our learning ecosystem, how much do you allow for the students to actually represent what they have to say versus just produce a result, right? So I think there is an aspect that we should talk about there. But I'll also say this on the applicability and coming into a workforce, etc. There are a couple of things I thought are good. So the apprenticeship program is a wonderful thing. Many of us are, contributing to a better cause to allow for some of these tier 2, tier 3 city associates to come in and actually get an experience working in an enterprise and take that back into their learning. That's one. We also went through a program where, when we started hiring off campus. Then we realized, you know what, we need to know them, they need to know us. So we do longer internships, and it's all internship-based hiring. So that way you get to feel for each other. Sometimes this is the place I want to be, or this may not be the place I want to be. So, you want to allow for that to happen. So we've changed the models in which we engage to help solve the problem, but it's not solved yet. It's a longer journey. And to your question on, is it a tier 2 problem or a tier 1? I don't think it's a tier 2, tier 1 problem. It is a genuine problem in terms of how our learning happens in our ecosystem.
Debasis, having associates in 3 different regions, cultural alignment, and probably how much of the energy goes into really getting all these 3 different, people from 3 different countries to really work together?
The way I look at it, right, from talent in three different reasons. I remember the book by Ram Charan, Talent Wins, and I strongly believe in that. It's a book from the early 2000 days. So to me, you will have talent of different time which comes in. And after you bring in, what is more important is you have a very strong talent operating model within the organization, which should be consistent across the regions. Doesn't matter whether it's 4 centers, tier 2 cities, tier 1 cities, or different countries, right? And the key components of our talent operating model in TransUnion has been built around agility, one important thing, right? For example, if you look at today, the way the skills are changing, which we talk about, if I take cloud as an example, way back in 2022, when we were doing in the cloud transformation, we ran a hackathon for 12 quarters.
12 quarters?
12 quarters. Talking through very focused cloud security principles and how you migrate to the cloud. And we ran those hackathons in a gamification way across all locations, including not just GCCs, outside of the GCCs as well in the regions. And what it brought in a cloud literacy across the globe in a consistent way. So having an agile model where you are able to take that across the organization is one important thing we had seen. The second piece which we look at is accountability, because as GCCs are maturing and you go from being led to, from being driven or being led to actually leading, right? Accountability to outcomes is important. And we are trying to inculcate that culture of accountability within the organization. If I do this, what it means, how it is related to the business outcomes. That is what is defining a lot of our transformation, again, which is consistent, right? The third piece I will say, which has played out well, which is a glue for us, is connecting it to the purpose of the business, right? So for us in TransUnion, this whole building of people, reskilling, whether it's AI, anything, is all purpose-led. Where TransUnion is about creating financial inclusion. It's about how do you provide safe experiences for the customer by preventing fraud, by helping them all through, right? So when we integrate that to what they do and how they apply all the new skills which are coming, AI or how you are using data, right? That connects very strongly to what the skills are building, technology, accountability, which will play them in leadership, all those aspects. So it doesn't really matter from where we are getting the associates as long as they have the foundation skills in which country. Is the ability of building them into a consistent operating model where there are factors besides your basic skills. If you are able to bring in agility, if you are able to bring in some purpose into what you do, if you are able to get accountability, then you cannot differentiate between the three reasons.